What I think is interesting about this story that I saw in the Daily Mail is that they say in November, the York women turned down Prince William's suggestion to allow an ethics check to be carried out about their personal investments. They say that's really when Prince William started to be concerned about their presence.
We've all heard about the headlines surrounding their father, but what the world hasn't seen are the private tears shed behind palace walls this week. Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie have just been served an explosive social eviction notice that goes far beyond a missed horse race. From being scrubbed out of every official family photograph to a cold-blooded ban from 5 of the most prestigious events on the royal calendar, the sisters are being systematically unpersoned. The bloodline is being pruned in real time, leaving the York sisters blindsided and effectively erased from the only life they've ever known. But the most chilling part isn't the ban itself. It's the secret ultimatum Prince William reportedly issued that changed their lives forever. We're diving deep into the 5 forbidden zones the sisters can no longer enter, and the real reason the king finally pulled the trigger. Before we reveal the first ban, hit that subscribe button and join our community. It's the best way to stay updated on the stories the palace wants to keep quiet. Now, let's look at the first place Beatrice and Eugenie are no longer welcome.
Now, we're hearing over the weekend that everyone is now, or in the royal circle, is now ostracising princesses Beatrice and Eugenie, the daughters, of course, of Annie and Fergie. This is a change of position on the part of the royal family, because initially the king said it's not their fault. They should be still included in royal events. They should be still welcomed into the bosom of the royal family. But more and more evidence is emerging.
The royal drawbridge didn't just go up this week. It was slammed shut with enough force to shake the very foundations of the House of York. While the world was watching the fallout from their father's 11-hour interrogation, a much colder, more personal directive was being finalized behind the scenes. It's being called the March Mandate, and it's effectively a social death warrant for Beatrice and Eugenie. The sisters have been officially barred from the royal Ascot carriage procession, a tradition that hasn't just been part of their lives, it was their identity. But this isn't just about missing a horse race. Imagine being told that you are now so toxic that your own cousins, the future king and queen, refuse to even be in the same photograph as you. Prince William has reportedly issued a no-contact order to palace photographers, ensuring that the York sisters are scrubbed from every official frame for the remainder of 2026. This isn't a suggestion, it's an institutional erasure. Beatrice, who has spent her life trying to bridge the gap between her disgraced father and the crown, was reportedly left completely blindsided and in floods of tears. She thought she was the exception to the rule, the one good York who could stay in the inner circle. She was wrong. The cruelty of the timing is what really stings. As the 2026 social season approaches, the sisters have been informed they aren't just out of the carriages, they're out of the royal box entirely. They've been told that if they want to attend the events that were once their birthright, they must do so as commoners, lost in the crowd of thousands, far away from the cameras and the family they once called their own. This is a level of public humiliation that the British aristocracy rarely sees. It's a message to the world that the York brand is no longer just a liability, it's a contagion. Because the real reason for this ban isn't just who their father is, it's what they may have been hiding themselves.
William believed that potentially they might have involuntarily been involved with some of their father and mother's shady business people, and he wanted to protect them by offering them this ethics check to be ahead of any sort of scandal that could come to fruition. And they, according to the Daily Mail, refused that opportunity. And so someone said in the magazine or in the paper that the palace is acutely aware that Andrew and his business friends, they acted as Beatrice and Eugenie's financial advisors, and no one is quite sure what might be that everything's entirely above board. So
the king didn't just close the door on the York sisters, he offered them a trapdoor first, and they walked right over it. Before the Ascot ban was finalized, a high-level ethics audit was placed on the table by palace lawyers. It was supposed to be their get-out-of-jail-free card, a chance to prove their hands were clean of their father's messy financial history. But instead of transparency, the sisters chose a path that has now left the king with no other choice but to cut them off entirely. Reports suggest that Beatrice and Eugenie flatly refused to sign the disclosure. Why would two women with nothing to hide turn down a chance to clear their names? That's the question currently haunting the halls of Windsor. By saying no to the audit, they didn't just protect their privacy, they essentially confirmed the palace's worst fears. Rumors are now swirling that the sisters may have been involuntarily linked to the very offshore accounts currently being picked apart by international investigators. But it gets even deeper. This isn't just about old money, it's about a 2026 data dump that allegedly links their names to a consultancy firm with ties to the now deceased billionaire at the center of the family's disgrace. The king's team reportedly found evidence of hospitality and travel that was never officially logged. For a monarchy trying to survive on a platform of total transparency, this was the radioactive evidence they couldn't ignore. The fallout was immediate. The king's protection was withdrawn, and the sisters were left to fend for themselves in a legal storm they were never prepared for. This refusal to cooperate didn't just cost them their carriage seats, it cost them their status as innocent bystanders. They are now being viewed as part of the problem, a branch of the family tree that isn't just withered, but actively working against the crown's new image. Beatrice is reportedly devastated, claiming the audit was a breach of dignity. But in the ruthless world of royal optics, dignity doesn't pay the bills, and it certainly doesn't keep you in the royal box. As the palace moves to seal off their access to royal funds, the sisters are realizing that their royal safety net is shredded. With their royal safety net shredded, the sisters have been forced to do the one thing no one expected. They've gone from tiaras to the corporate grind, and the real world they're entering is far more cutthroat than anything they faced at the palace. Because for Beatrice and Eugenie, the 40-hour workweek isn't just a career move, it's a desperate race for survival. Forget the tiaras and the garden parties. The York sisters have just been forced into a real world that is colder than the stone walls of Windsor. While the palace shutters their royal offices, Beatrice and Eugenie are doing the one thing no one in the royal family is ever supposed to do. They are punching a clock. This isn't just a hobby to stay busy, this is a desperate high-stakes pivot to ensure they don't end up as the first homeless princesses in modern history. Beatrice has gone from royal patron to a corporate shark, taking a director's seat at Purpose Economy Intelligence Limited. This isn't some influencer brand or a vanity project. It's a high-energy tech firm where the margins are thin and the scrutiny is relentless. Imagine the pressure of leading a boardroom meeting while your father's name is being dragged through an 11-hour police interrogation on the morning news. She isn't just fighting for a paycheck, she's fighting to prove that a York can actually produce something of value to society. But here's where it gets complicated. Every move she makes in the corporate world is now being monitored by the king's ethics team. One wrong investment or one questionable business partner, and her entire career could be dismantled by the palace in a single press release. It's a professional tightrope where the safety net has been removed. Meanwhile, Eugenie is clocking 40-hour weeks at the Hauser and Worth Art Gallery, splitting her life between the London elite and the quiet streets of Portugal. She once told the press people are surprised she actually works, but in 2026, that work is her only lifeline. Her director title at the gallery is the only thing keeping her relevant now that the royal carriages have been pulled away. She is navigating a world where who you know used to be everything, but now who you are related to has become a toxic liability. The sisters are essentially living a double life. By day, they are high-powered executives and art directors. By night, they are the outcasts of a 1,000-year-old dynasty. They are trying to build a future based on merit, but the shadow of the palace follows them into every office. They are the commoner princesses, working for their lives while the king moves to ensure they never represent the crown again. But as they settle into their new roles as corporate survivors, a much darker threat is emerging from within their own family. It's not just the king they have to worry about. Prince William has reportedly taken a much more aggressive stance, and the Cold War he started is about to turn into a total blackout. Because William isn't just distancing himself from his cousins, he's making sure the world forgets they ever existed.
Now, Harry and Meghan in particular were offering their support to Bea and Eugenie. We're hearing that has been removed. They are not backing Bea and Eugenie anymore, nor are William and Catherine, the Prince and Princess of Wales. They're particularly cold towards these two girls.
Prince William has reportedly issued a command that effectively unpersons the York sisters, and it's a move so cold it has left the rest of the family shivering. It's no longer just a rumour. Multiple sources are confirming a no-photo policy that is being enforced with the kind of tactical precision you'd expect from a military operation. The directive is simple but devastating. No member of the royal family is to be captured in the same frame as Beatrice or Eugenie for the remainder of 2026. This isn't just about avoiding a bad headline, it's a total institutional blackout designed to erase the York brand from the monarchy's future. Imagine the tension at private family gatherings where the future king refuses to even acknowledge your presence if a camera is in the room. This Cold War has escalated to the point where William and Catherine have reportedly threatened to boycott the royal Ascot entirely if the sisters are given even a sliver of the spotlight. For William, this isn't personal, it's survival. He views the monarchy as a sinking ship that needs to shed its heaviest weights to stay afloat, and in his eyes, the sisters are no longer family, they are liabilities. But the silence from Kensington Palace is the loudest part of the story. While they refuse to comment publicly, the arm's-length approach is being felt in every corner of the sisters' lives. They've been quietly removed from group chats, excluded from planning meetings for major 2026 milestones, and even their long-standing charitable patrons are being advised to reconsider the association. It's a slow-motion exile that is stripping them of their influence before they even have a chance to defend themselves. The most chilling detail: sources claim William has even pressured other cousins like Zara Tindall to pick a side. It's a with us or against us ultimatum that has fractured the once tight circle of royal grandchildren. Beatrice, who has always been the family's peacemaker, is reportedly aghast at how quickly the brotherhood has evaporated. She's watching her world shrink in real time, replaced by a wall of royal silence that no amount of loyalty can break through. As the dust settles on the 2026 royal season, the image of those two empty carriage seats at Ascot will haunt the House of York for years to come. We are witnessing the final cold-blooded sunset of a dynasty that once stood at the very heart of the British monarchy. For Beatrice and Eugenie, the social eviction isn't just a temporary punishment, it's a permanent realignment of their reality. They are no longer the beloved nieces of a king, they are the collateral damage of a brand that decided it was safer to erase them than to explain them. While their father, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, remains isolated in a Norfolk farmhouse following his historic February arrest, the sisters are left to navigate a world that has suddenly become very small and very quiet. They've swapped the royal box for the corporate boardroom and their tiaras for a 40-hour work week, all while the palace ensures their names are slowly scrubbed from the history books. It's a ruthless survival tactic from a monarchy that knows it can't afford even a single shadow of doubt. But as the York name fades into the background, it leaves us with one chilling question. In a world of crowns and bloodlines, is loyalty to your family a noble virtue, or is it the very thing that eventually leads to your own destruction? The sisters chose to stand by their parents, and in return, the crown chose to stand alone.